Welcome back, everyone. I hope everyone enjoyed the break. And during that break, I answered quite a few questions about hurricanes. So that's a really good because people are taking these storms more and more seriously. Now we're getting to the main part of this presentation. We're going to be talking about what you and your family can do to be safe when these storms threaten your area. But before we do that, we need to discuss a few terms. And one of these terms is a hurricane watch. What is a hurricane watch? Well, a hurricane watch is issued by the National Hurricane Center out of Coral Gables, Florida. They have conference calls with local National Weather Services and local emergency management agencies, and they determine where these watches and warnings should be issued. A watch is issued when winds of 75 miles per hour or greater are possible within the next 48 hours. Now, when a watch is issued and it becomes a hurricane warning, winds of 75 miles per hour are expected within the next 36 hours. And I'm sure many of you are asking the question, why do they issue these so far out in advance? Well, you have to think about this. The coastlines are very populated. You've got Miami along the coast. You've got Charleston along the coast, Houston, New Orleans. For example, back in 1999, Hurricane Floyd was threatening to hit Savannah, Georgia. They had one of the largest evacuations in United States history. And it took nearly 12 hours for people in Savannah to get up toward Atlanta, Georgia. That's normally a 4-hour trip. It was taking up to 12 hours. So you can see people need plenty of lead time to get these evacuations in order. So if you can't leave, what should you do during a hurricane? Well, primary thing is listen to the local media. You're going to be getting information from the National Weather Service. You're going to be getting information from the local emergency management agency. You're going to be information from your mayors, your city council members. They're going to provide you with specific information to your particular location. And you need to listen to these folks. When they issue a hurricane warning and an evacuation warning, you need to leave. These people are not playing games. They're trying to save your life and they're trying to protect your property. So folks, please listen to your local officials during a hurricane. Also, stay away from windows, remain inside. Now, you have to remember in a hurricane, if it moves directly overhead, the eye is very calm. So you might be fooled into a false sense of security and go outside in the eye. Well, that means that part of the storm has come through. You have the second half, which is normally stronger than the first half to come through. And many people have been caught outdoors when the second part comes through and have been damaged, injured, or killed. You also need to bring outdoor objects inside, and it's a good idea to take your refrigerators and your freezers and turn it to their coldest settings. This will keep your food longer in the refrigerator. It'll keep it safe a little bit longer, and try not to open the doors very much. And you need a supply of water for sanitary reasons. It's a good idea when a hurricane warning is issued, if you're not leaving, to fill your bathtubs, your sinks, and any other kind of containers you have with water, because you're going to need to flush the toilets, and chances are the water supply will be shut off in your area. So, now, when to evacuate. These are signs that you see all along the coast, the hurricane evacuation routes. These point people to areas that are going to be safer from a hurricane. Can't say completely safe, but safer, away from storm surge, away from flooding areas. If you were ordered to do so by local emergency management officials, you need to evacuate immediately. If you live in a mobile home, chances are that home will be torn apart by the strong winds. You need to evacuate if you live in a flood-prone area. If you live in a high-rise building, the winds are a little bit higher and stronger the higher you go up into the atmosphere. So if you live on a 20 or 30th floor in a high-rise building, chances are your windows are going to get blown out as well. And if you feel your life is in danger, you need to leave immediately. So, if you remain at home, remember to stay indoors. Close all your interior doors, close your curtains and blinds. That way, if the winds do break your windows, you don't have flying glass coming inside. Keep away from windows, take refuge in a small interior room, and a lot of times roofs are blown off or get damaged, and you want to take cover under a sturdy table or a bed or mattress or anything that you can cover yourself with from flying debris. So, after a hurricane, you have to remember the power will be out for days. So will the water supply. It will not be safe to drink. And chances are you won't even have running water in your home for days. Roads will be impassable. You'll have numerous trees and power lines down, and bridges may be washed out because of flooding. So travel is pretty much going to be limited. you're probably going to be stuck at your house for a couple of days after one of these major storms comes through your area. So what do you need for a hurricane kit? I'm going to have a volunteer, Edgar Holloway, come up today, and he's going to put together a little hurricane kit. Come on up, Edgar, if you don't mind. He lived through Hurricane Katrina in 2005. Where were you located when the storm came through?
Well, I was in Tylertown, Mississippi.
Okay, Tylertown, Mississippi, and the storm actually went well off to your east. You're on the weaker side of that storm, first of all, and number two, you're about 40 or 50 miles away from the center of the storm. What did you experience from Hurricane Katrina?
Well, it was just a bunch of wind. It didn't hardly rain, but we was out with lights, which we had a generator, so that went good. And that was really it.
So since you had a generator, it made things a little bit better.
Yes.
But now that you know these kind of damages that these storms can cause, what would you put in a hurricane kit?
Well, I've got water.
Very, very important. We'll go into detail about this in a few minutes.
I've got a flashlight with batteries still for just in case.
Just in case. If you have to go outdoors at night or you don't have a generator, you probably need a flashlight. Remember, street lights are not going to be working. It's going to be very, very dark outside. There are going to be plenty of snakes floating around. It's just an ugly situation. So you definitely want a flashlight and a good supply of batteries.
I've got Band-Aids.
Very good idea, because many people are going to be cut while cleaning up, removing trees and limbs from their house. It's a good idea to have some Band-Aids and a first aid kit.
And I got Germ-X.
Germ-X, very good idea, because a lot of people will not have running water, and this is a good way to clean your hands rather quickly. Well, thank you very much, Edgar, for this. You had a lot of good ideas to put in your hurricane kit, but let's take it a little bit farther. Let's get that presentation back up. All right, let me put this away. Okay, now, as Edgar alluded to, he said bottled water is absolutely necessary, and he is right. Remember, no running water. So the rule of thumb is you need to have 1 gallon of bottled water per person per day for 7 days. That's a lot of water, so make sure you have plenty of water, and you need to do this prior to our hurricane watch or hurricane warning being issued. You should do this at the beginning of hurricane season, because if you wait until it's too late, those grocery stores are going to be wiped out, and you're probably going to be left stranded with not much water left. Non-perishable foods, once again, anything in bottles or in that does not have to be heated is a good idea to have. Chips, crackers, peanut butter, bread, anything like that. Once again, plan on being without food for 7 days. So you probably want to stack up a supply of food for 7 days. Edgar also talked about a hurricane kit, first aid kit, I'm sorry. Many people are injured while cleaning their property after a hurricane. Remember, trees, limbs are going to be down, windows are going to be broken, and it's just likely that you will experience some kind of injury after a hurricane, and roads are going to be impassable, and you're not going to get to the hospital. So it's a good idea to have a hurricane kit. Prescription drugs. Remember, electricity not working, chances are your pharmacies are not going to be open. So it's a good idea to really stock up on your prescription drugs at the beginning of hurricane season. What else? Okay, an axe, a chainsaw, and a hammer. Well, there are a couple of reasons that you need to have a chainsaw and an axe. In New Orleans, many people were not evacuated, they didn't leave, and they were stranded in their house. And when the levees broke, the water started rising quickly, and they had nowhere to go except to their roofs. If they did not have an axe or a chainsaw, they would have drowned in their homes. These chainsaws can cut your roof where you'll be able to get on top. Also, these chainsaws are important so you can get out on the streets. Remember, these roads are going to be messy with trees and power lines down, so you need a chainsaw to kind of clear your path. Another very important thing is a radio with batteries. You can get your latest information from your local officials by listening to the radio. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And other important items for a hurricane kit: flashlight and batteries, a tarp to cover holes in your roof. There's going to be a lot of roof damage after a hurricane, so you definitely want to prevent further damage by water coming into it. Bug spray. I cannot tell you the importance of bug spray. They come from everywhere. Ants come out from everywhere, so you definitely want to keep bug spray handy. Don't forget your pets. You got to have plenty of food and water for those little critters as well. Toys, books, and games for your children. Remember, children are going to be bored. They're not going to have internet, so they're going to be looking for something to do. So you definitely need to have something to entertain those guys. Bleach is good for cleaning. A generator is a great thing to have. And cash. Remember, ATMs will not be working as well, so it's a good idea to take out a lot of cash prior to a hurricane hitting. So I hope you've learned a lot from this presentation. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me after the presentation. I'll be here to answer any questions for you. Thank you very much.